right, we are live. What's up, guys? I am in my backyard, just swam with all my babies in the pool, and thought I'd jump on a live and talk to you guys. Yo, yo, talk to you guys a little bit about hiring a mentor and what, and why most of you guys are scared shitless to hire a mentor. We'll let a few people jump on first. So, when you jump on, tell me where you're from. Uh, let's give it a few minutes. All right, we got 3 people on. Check out my pool, guys. Check out this backyard. Oh, that's my little girl. Can't show her too much. She's naked. Mama, what's up? Yeah, Mama's over there. Look at Mama right there holding the baby. Anyway, guys, so I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference between hiring a mentor and not hiring a mentor, right? So basically, we got 4 people on. Guys, tell me where you're from. Give me some thumbs up. Anthony, hey Chris, how are you? We spoke a while back. What's up, Anthony? Yeah, I remember talking to you, my brother. So, the difference between hiring a mentor, guys, and not hiring a mentor is really, it's twofold, right? It's time and mistakes. Time and mistakes. I see this all the time. I get people wanting to get into my program, and it's like pulling teeth. They won't even invest, like, they're so excited to talk to me and my team, and then they can't even invest $500 for a course, which it baffles me. It blows my mind, right? What's up, Rick's Los Angeles? Cool, man. You know, if why wouldn't you hire somebody that's been through the trenches, right, or walk through a minefield, right? That's all you're doing is you're basically hiring somebody that's walked through a minefield and stepped on all the landmines, and it's gonna tell you, hey, don't step here, step right there, because I just got my leg blown off by walking through that particular part of the field, right? Make sure you hire somebody that's been in the trenches, that's been through the all the ups, downs, good, bad, everything, right? Because you're basically just gonna avoid landmines and problems and mistakes. Now, can you figure stuff out on your own? Absolutely, but you're gonna have problems, you're gonna have mistakes, you're gonna have setbacks. When you can otherwise just skip time, you could skip time and go straight to, what you want which is the information, right? The right information to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be, right? So don't go and just if you're trying to learn something, invest in yourself. Like I pride myself on being the person that invests more time and money in mentors than anybody I know. I'm leaving to go to Cleveland, Ohio here in 2 weeks to learn about multifamily investing from a guy named Tim Bratz, right? He's younger than me. He owns like $88 million worth of apartment complexes. He's done it with a zero of his own money. And I want to know what he's got. I want to know how he figured out, because I'm in the multifamily, but I don't own $88 million worth of real estate. I own about 11 million bucks worth of real estate, and I'm older than him, right? So I want to know what he's learning and how he can get there. Kyle, hey Chris, I'm 21 years old, digital marketer, and I'm making the transition to real estate. Dude, smart man, Kyle. Kyle, I wish I would have known about this when I was 21, my brother. Wish. If I got in real estate when I was 24, but I didn't know about wholesaling until check out my babies right there. Look at that little baby boy. Mom, he's not sleeping. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I learned about wholesaling when I was like, 4 years ago? It literally changed everything I knew about real estate, because I was buying off of MLS, right? I was buying deals that were marginal, right? If that, I was buying it 60, 70 cents on the dollar, 80 cents on the dollar. I'm sorry, I was buying it 80 cents on the dollar. When I got into wholesaling, I started buying it, 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar, which was a total game changer, right? And I didn't know how to do that because I didn't know what I didn't know, right? This is what I just said. You don't know what you don't know. So, Marcio, what's up? What's up, stud? What's up? Anyway, so you got to be willing to invest to take it to the next level. Don't get hung up on that. If you don't invest in yourself, guys, you're gonna slow your progress down, especially in, your personal development of your skill sets, right? If you're trying to take it to the next level, invest in yourself. I promise. And look, if you don't have a lot of money, you can't even invest in, say, multifamily or even single family homes. Take your cash and invest it in your mind. It don't cost a lot to buy a course. It doesn't cost a lot to buy books. Get these things and invest, right? So I tell my students, look, if you can't buy my high level coaching, no big deal. At least get the low end package. Get the lowest end package you can, and join the Facebook group. Our coaching, just our course is only $500, and then you can get into my private Facebook group for $297 a month and get weekly coaching calls and be a part of all of my students from across the country, right? So, if you're interested in being a part of my group, hit me up. You can inbox me on Facebook, or you can go to chrisroot.com. But the point is, guys, why not skip time, avoid the mistakes? Especially when it comes to real estate. You think you know real estate. It ain't that simple. Like, there's a lot of things to know. Matter of fact, I made another YouTube video about 13 reasons why you suck at real estate wholesaling, right? And real estate in general. You got to know your market, guys. You got to know your market. You got to better spend money on marketing. You got to be able to put yourself out there. There's a lot of different things, guys. Tons of different things you got to learn. It ain't that easy. People think, I'm just going to watch a bunch of YouTube videos and I'm going to learn. Yes, you could do that. I did that. I got on YouTube and I tried to figure out wholesaling on my own. And I did. I did a deal on my own. I made like $5,000, but I was very inconsistent. Then after that, I hired 3 mentors back to back to back, right? After that, I made like $47,000 in my first 30 days after my first mentor. Kyle says, I'm in Arizona and my goal is to have 5 deals by December. Awesome, Kyle. What's the fast way to learn your market? Thoughts on Sean Terry? I think Sean Terry is a good coach. He's been doing it for a while. I think he's a little outdated. I don't think he's really doing wholesaling anymore. I think he's really just got his business on autopilot. I think he's doing a lot of full-time coaching. Just be careful. Make sure you hire coaches actually in the trenches. I do deals every day, all day, right? I'm doing deals all day. Like, I coach my students, I buy real estate, and I'll wholesale real estate all day, every day. So I know what's working. I know what's not working. But Sean Terry's a good guy. I wouldn't say he's a bad coach. I'm better though. But to answer the other question, somebody asked, how do you learn your market? There is no easy way to learn your market. You literally have to go out there and rub shoulders and elbows with people who are in the trenches, right? You need to talk to as many realtors as you can. Learn your market in a sense, like you need to know where the bad areas versus the good areas. You need to know where economically greedy. What's the coaching price? I'll get into that in a second after I finish talking about this. So you have to know that what areas are good and what areas are not. Like the trending areas where prices are maybe increasing, and then you got neighborhoods that are maybe decreasing in value because maybe crime rates going up. You have to know all these things, and the way you learn that is you talk to people, right? You ride through the neighborhoods. You figure out, how old certain neighborhoods are. Like, you can't just go and start buying real estate, guys. You gotta know your market. That's probably the number one thing, to know your market, right? Like, for instance, when I get a call, if I have to go look at a deal, say in, where I live in Lafayette, Louisiana, right? There's 2 towns I would not buy in. That's Opelousas and New Iberia, right? It's shitholes, right? And the crime rate's so bad, even though it's a smoking hot deal, but I do have buyers that will buy in New Iberia, right? So I'll go over there, and I'll have to be careful what streets I turn down, because if I go down a certain street, I've almost gotten pulled out of my truck going down certain streets. That's how, and now I don't go down those streets no more. And I'll make sure I know that I don't go down those streets, and I talk to realtors about those markets, and that's how I'm learning my market. You almost have to learn by trial. There's no like manual you can pick up and say, hey, how to learn your market. You got to go out there and get dirty, fall on your face, bruise your elbows, scratch your knees, and you just have to rub shoulders with people that are in the market. Contractors, property managers are good to network with, realtors. Who else would be? I mean, those 3 right there are really good people you can talk to network with, and just go ride around the neighborhoods and make sure, look, if you're gonna wholesale, you wanna wholesale in older neighborhoods. Obviously, you don't wanna try to wholesale brand new construction. 15-plus-year-old houses are the best houses to try to wholesale. Anything that's only 5-10 years old, it's gonna be, I can't say you can't wholesale those properties. You can. But anyways, guys, post some questions. I'm gonna go sit down. I'm starting to get hot out there. What's up, Jay? What's going on, my brother? So anyway, somebody asked, how much is my coaching? Yeah, like, we have a bunch of different prices, guys. We have high-end coaching where you get unlimited time with me. You get You know, you can spend a whole year with me and get my personal cell phone number. It's pretty expensive. It's $25,000 package. Basically, you buying my time, right? That's one-on-one coaching for a year. But I mean, dude, I have coaching all the way from 25,000 all the way down to $500. I got a $10,000 package for 6 months, which is one-on-one. I've got my most popular package, which is 3 months of coaching for $5,000. Got 2 months of coaching for $3,500. 1 month of coaching. He takes 50% each deal. I don't take 50% of each deal. I don't know who told you that. Let's see. Then we get 1 month of coaching for $2,000, and we have the course plus one-on-one coaching call for $1,000. Do you do virtual wholesaling? Not really. Virtual wholesaling, I think that's a little. I think you need to learn your market. I make enough money just killing in my local markets here. You know, I wholesale in Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and Lake Charles. It's about an hour drive, you know, from the center of town where I'm at to go to Lake Charles to Baton Rouge. I mean, I think there's enough money to be made in your backyard. I think virtual wholesaling, I know people doing it. It's not my thing. I think it's tough. I mean, how are you going to build rapport with somebody over the phone? I mean, you can, but it's so much easier. It's so much easier to, I guess you change it. I think a long time ago we had that in there. We were gonna split the first. I think that's what you're thinking of, man. I think we were splitting the first deal, and I was only with the high-end coaching. But we don't do that anymore. We let y'all keep everything. So, but anyway, I think I was off track. But you know, virtual wholesaling. I'm sorry. If you're gonna, this is a people business, this is a relationship business. You want to be able to network with people, right, and really build rapport and get to know them. If you're trying to do this over the phone in 2 or 3 different states, Chris, is no market too saturated to succeed in? Kyle, I would say no. I know guys that are getting into markets like Phoenix, Arizona, which are like the use VAs. No, I use personal assistants. I have a personal assistant, Jan, who's here locally. She's been with me for 14 years. But no, I don't think it's totally saturated. I mean, I know people like Phoenix, Arizona is one of the hottest markets in the country. I know people just get into that market. If you can spend enough money and really penetrate the market, you can definitely do good. Are college towns good? I would say college towns are good. College properties, though, are going to be tough to get because they usually hold on to those. Matter of fact, well, I say that. I just picked up a fourplex. What about, Patty, when we bought that fourplex about 3 months ago by UL? Yeah. So I don't want to tell you no, but I would say those are diamond in the rough. I don't come by too many really good properties on campus, and I got this one property. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's tough, right? Do you implement cold calling? Jay, I don't have a cold calling team myself. However, I'm in touch with 1,000 calls a day and cold calling geeks, and we're probably gonna get set up with 1,000 calls a day, and I'm gonna have them cold call for me and send me the best leads. I really don't want to manage a cold calling team because I've heard nightmare stories. I got buddies that do it, and they said it's just a headache. That, you know, the turnaround is really high. I'd rather pay a company to do it for me. It's a little bit more, and they just send me the best leads. So we're getting set up with 1,000 calls a day as we speak. I have been doing a lot of ringless voice drop, which is super cool. We just started doing ringless voice drop. I think it's the wave of the future, by the way. So we're teaching that in the course right now. We have some high-level guys that are doing 6 figures a month that are coming in that I'm interviewing for my students. Matter of fact, Brad Pickett. Why don't you do direct mail? I'll tell you here in a second. A guy named Brad Pickett and Bo Hollis who are crushing. Yeah, exactly, Jay, exactly. I know, yeah, Bo Hollis, I just interviewed him. He's doing 6 figures a month plus. Brad Pick is doing 6 figures a month in Phoenix, Arizona, which is one of the hottest markets in the country. He's killing. I just interviewed those 2 guys, and they just spilled all of their business secrets into my group, into my private Facebook group. But yeah, I love ringless voice drop and ringless voicemail. We just started that. We just started like last week. We got 3 awesome leads. So direct mail, guys, I'm not saying, I don't like direct mail. I don't do it personally. Well, I say I don't do it. We do a little bit of probates. But that's about it, I'll send a letter here or there to some multifamily people. Like I'll send some letters to like trailer parks and stuff, try to pick up some trailer parks. But I don't do a ton of direct mail. Like I don't pull an absentee owner list. I'm not saying I ain't going to do it in the future, because I may. But I just feel like it's too many people doing it. It's too many people. It's too many people doing it. It's like my wife said. I don't want to chase motivation. I want motivation chasing me. I'm heavy online. I'm number one in all of my markets: Lafayette, Lake Charles. Do you still use bandit signs? I do a little bit, Jay. We've kind of transitioned. We've had the transition. We put out, me and my team, we put out so many bandit signs. We actually got in trouble with the city. So we actually we started buying a bunch of billboards. We've got about 14 billboards here just in Lafayette. I'm about to put probably 10 or 12 billboards in Baton Rouge. Do you wholesale single-family homes that are on multifamily zones assigned to developers who build a multifamily home? So yeah, I wholesale mostly single-family homes. If we come across a multifamily, usually keep it. We bought a mobile home park about 5 months ago. I could have wholesaled and made 100 grand on that deal, but I kept it in my own portfolio. And then we just got a fourplex on campus. We kept that one. So I'm basically, my model, guys, I wholesale single-family homes, take that cash and invest it into the multifamily deals that come through my pipeline, right? And I still invest in a few single-family homes, but I think multifamily is, as I get older, I'm starting to realize that, I want to have more doors than less. The problem with, single-family homes is it's just one door, right? How much are each billboard where you are? That's relative. Look, I think I only pay like $2,200 for 14 billboards, but I got a really good deal. It really depends on the market, because if you're in a super hot competitive market, to have the billboards I have, it may cost you 20 grand.
Depends on how much
It,
traffic.
it depends on how much traffic, how expensive your market is. Why would a house have two different parcel numbers, one delinquent and one not? I don't know. That's a good question, man. I've never ran into that. I don't want to give you information I don't have on it. But, you know, billboards are going to be relative to your market. Um, but as far as direct mail, if you're going to do it, you need to go all in and spend a lot of money. The thing about direct mail is, if you're going to like really crush it, you're going to have to spend like 10, 15, 20 grand. And I can spend half of that and do other things and get the same return. That's why I don't do direct mail. The ratio between how much money I have to spend versus what comes in for direct mail versus the other things I do are just way out of proportion. So that's why I choose not to do direct mail. But like I said, I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. I have in the past, and I've gotten deals. I just split test stuff. And look, like I said, what works in my market won't necessarily work in your market. Direct mail. I know some people crushing it with direct mail. Chris, what advice would you give to a young millennial about 10K in the bank and wants to start wholesaling? It's like, um, Kyle, if you have 10K in the bank, dude, and you're trying to get into wholesaling, hire a mentor, dude. Just hire a mentor. Hire me. I'll say, tell you, hire me. I'm the best coach in the country. I will tell any guru, and I am the best coach in the country. I'll tell you why. Because I'm a service you. I've got the most cutting edge techniques that are working because I'm in the game and I'm doing it, right? But definitely get you a coach, man. We can talk after this. Inbox me on Facebook. We'll set up a call. Me and you will talk about it. I'll tell you how I can help you. I've got young guys as young as 19 years old that are crushing it, right? Crushing it.
And it usually takes one deal to pay
Yeah,
off their.
it's just one deal. Like, all you gotta do is one deal, and you get all your money back from the investment. So, let me see about some of these questions. Let me go back. Um, that's why I cold call with Mojo much less expensive. That's right, Jay. Yep. What do you think about buying half a duplex? Is it gonna be easy to sell? Half a duplex? I wouldn't do that. I'd buy the whole
Buy the
thing.
whole thing.
Buy the whole thing. Um, but just know, guys. Look, you got to constantly invest in yourself. I always tell my students, you got to become the best version of yourself, right? Like, I'm putting on a conference called the Skillathon, right, in Destin, Florida, November 17th and 18th, or 16th and 17th, Mama.
16th and 17th.
November 16th and 17th, in Destin, Florida, at the Hilton Sandestin. I'm gonna have high-level speakers, guys that are making seven figures, 8 figures, come and speak. And I'm putting on this event because I want you guys, I want people to come, and I want people to become the best version of themselves by stealing other people's knowingness and stealing other people's information. And that's really the only way you're gonna do that. You have to, to get knowledge, guys, knowledge. I read a book at least almost once a week, depending on how long. If it's a longer book, it may take me 2 to 4 weeks, right? If people can't afford your services, FundWise will fund them. That's right, Jay. That's exactly right. But I tell people, become the best version of yourself. Read a book a week. Read a book a month. Like, The better, the this is how I can explain this, right? Personal development is like downloading software into a new computer and upgrading your computer. I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's so true. Every time I read a new book, like I learn a new skill set, I get better. I get better and better. It's a slow, gradual, subtle difference. But over time, you'll see that you as an individual will grow so much. Best book on negotiations. There's a book by it's called Never Split the Difference. I would say that's going to be one of the better books to read on negotiations. Let's see. Seller has half a duplex he wants to sell, so just pass on or offer really low. Offer really low, but I mean you can wholesale it. I wouldn't personally buy it. I thought if you're just wholesaling, go ahead and get in a contract and try to wholesale it. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't keep that for my own portfolio, right? So, um, guys, upgrade your software, right? Read a book a week, hire mentors. Don't think, you think all these guys that are super rich, you don't think Grant Cardone, read Thou Shalt Prosper. Yeah, that's a good book too. Never read it, but I heard it's a good book. You don't think these guys that are high level, super high level, haven't read tons of books? Dude, I guarantee you, I know for a fact Grant Cardone reads tons of reads and upgrades his software, right? Or his hard drive with new software, right? I'm constantly reading people's stuff. Where's Uncle G? Uncle G is in Turks and Caicos. Cake, how you say it? Turks and Cake? Patty. Turks and Cake. How you say that? Turks and Caicos? That place where Grant's at right now. How you say Turks and what? Turks and Caicos. Where's that at? It's in the Bahamas. Yeah. He's actually over there doing a real estate. He's videoing all kind of new content to create a course for his multifamily course. I'm reading on intermittent fasting right, dude. I love Jay. I'm actually gonna create a course on intermittent fasting because I love it so much. Let me tell you why. It helps me work. He said it's 16,000 a day for a room. That's right. He ain't in no freaking cheap place, that's for sure. But yeah, guys, intermittent fasting is fantastic. I mean, I do a lot of that. I do it because for one, it makes me super sharp as far as the way I feel mentally, and two, I can work like a mule. I can literally put in 8, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, like nothing. I don't get tired. Dude, sugars, look, I'm telling you right now, guys, sugars is the devil. I'm on 20/4 fast. That's awesome. Sugars are the devil, guys, especially processed sugars. So many growers show off their Lambos, but give out bad information. Thanks for being real, Chris. Kyle, let me tell you something, my brother. If they showing you their Lambo, listen, those days are coming to an end. There's too many people doing that. Too many people are renting freaking Lambos and doing all kind of crazy shit. Let me tell you something. I don't even own a Lambo, and I don't want a Lambo. If I have when I have cash, you know where it goes? I stay broke. I buy freaking mobile home parks, beach house. I just bought a $1 million beach house on the beach. That cash flow is about 150 to 180,000 a year. I could have bought a fucking Lambo. I don't want a fucking Lambo. It ain't gonna pay me nothing. Why would I buy a fucking Lamborghini and a Ferrari? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I won't ever buy a Lamborghini and a Ferrari, but I need to make so much freaking money that it's just, and I already make really good money, but I'm not gonna fucking just go buy a fucking Lamborghini. And that's just my opinion. Some people say, well, it's good for the brand and this and that, but I think it's cheesy. Jay said, speak on not being scared to go broke. Jay, that's a great topic. If you, especially if you're young, guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, the reason I've gotten as far as I've gotten at a young age, John, I've been intermittent fasting for 3. Let's talk about that. Speak on not being scared to go broke. So yeah, guys, when I was 24 years old, I sold my house, made $125,000 on my first flip house. I took that and invested in my first quick lube car wash and mechanic shop. That was when I was doing oil changes and car wash out the back of my truck. I was 24 years old, guys. I borrowed $860,000 at 24. Patty, when we bought John Street, 24 years old, 25? Yeah, right after we sold that first house in Brobridge, made 100. How old were we? 25? 25. So I borrowed, guys. All that money I made. At that time, guys, if you don't know who I am back then, or you probably heard this story, me talk about it, but I had started an oil change business out the back of my truck, washing cars, changing oil, changing out windshields and stuff. And I flipped my first house around that same time, and I was doing both, and I made a lot of money, and I wanted my own shop. So I bought a shop on a really busy intersection here in Lafayette, and I borrowed $860,000 at 24 years old, and I put all that money I made on that flip, that 124,000 I made, I put it down as my 20% down payment. So it was a big risk, right? But I was young, right? So, but it was a calculated risk, you know, and I was all in. Like, you almost can't fail, guys, if you have so much heart and you're not willing to quit. Now, I'm not gonna say that's in every case. Like, you're gonna have some times in your life where you probably should quit, right? There's some, like, for instance, I just sold off all of my shops, right? Because they weren't making money for me anymore. The industry's changed. Like, the oil change. When I was changing oil, you used to be able to change oil every 3,000 miles, and that was the industry standard. Now people are changing their oil every 10,000 miles. So that business was no longer viable, right? And I noticed I went from doing like 40, 50 oil changes a day to like 30, 20, and it was getting ridiculous. So I sold that off to and I got really lucky. I sold it off to a company for 940,000 about 8 months ago, right? Matter of fact, that's where we used the money that we made on that flip, on that oil change business, and we 1031 exchanged it into that beach house that we bought. If you don't know 1031 exchange, that's where you take the money you make from the proceeds of a flip or a real estate transaction, and you roll it into a likewise property. You don't have to pay any taxes on it. So, you know, we transitioned and kind of pivoted, and now we're doing real estate full time. And I've been doing real estate full time for about 4 or 5 years now. But the point is, guys, you can't really get great gains without, you know, with some risk. But you can mitigate that risk by doing what? Hiring mentors, investing in yourself, reading books, building knowledge. The more knowledge you build, the more certainty you have. John Guillory, do you buy vacant land? How do you feel about that? Yes, John, I do buy vacant land. We're doing a land development right now in Youngsville, where we're going to be developing. I think we're going to be developing. Mama, how many acres are we developing? 8. Is it 8, 7, 8 acres in the front? Yeah, we're developing some really good property in Youngsville. Developing 8 acres. It's gonna be 10 high-end lots. We're gonna sell it to builders for about 100 grand, 80 grand. So yeah, I do buy vacant land as long as it's you know, a really good deal that I can develop. Let's see. What is a good budget to start wholesaling house market? I'm in Dallas Fort Worth market. Ryan, so I would say to start off with, you need at least, man, you need at least $1,000. You can do it $500, but you're gonna trade out a lot more time, sweat equity, to get more deals. I'd start off with bandit signs and driving for dollars. And if you don't have any money, I would just do a bunch of driving for dollars and, you know, cold calling and, you know, cold call for sale by owners, door knock houses that look distressed. I mean, there's way to do. But if you have $1,000, I mean, bandit signs, and I would say do some ringless voice drops. So let's see, what's the other question? How long until you think someone should get their first deal if they are 2 people working full time with $1,000 a month profit? Best guess. Man, honestly, I'd say 3 to 4 months. Although I've seen I have students in my program that have done deals in 28 days, but that's not normal. The average, it's gonna take you 2 to 3 months, 4 months, 2 to 4 months, maybe even 5, you know, 4 to 6. It really depends on. There's a few factors, right? So there's a few factors, like it's your skill sets, how well you negotiate, how much money you can spend, and how competitive your market is. Those really are the mitigating factors of how it's gonna play out, you know. Obviously, if you're a really good negotiator, a really good rapport builder, people really like you, and you're trustworthy, and you have a lot of confidence, you're gonna do really well. Let's see. I finished a wholesale course. I need more training. John, Anna, hit me up, man. Hit me up with some one-on-one coaching. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger. Hit me up on go to chrisrude.com, or just hit me up on Facebook Messenger. We can talk, man. I'd love to help you. Can you give information about bandit signs? Can you get, let's see. Can you get fined for bandit signs? What is the best company to go with? So, Dirt Cheap Signs sells bandit signs. Listen, it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Remember that. So, I'm not saying to go out there and do anything illegal, but it's better just to go put them out and see how the city reacts to that. You know, sometimes there's a lot of places that don't really care. It depends on what market you're in. You know, I wouldn't put them in downtown you know, wherever you're at. Don't go put them in the downtown. I put them in the outskirts. How do you, let's see, how do you find out how my market works? How my, so what do you mean, how do I find out how your market works, Jay? What do you mean by that, my brother? John, thanks for the info. I am doing it now, and everyone thinks I am crazy, but I see where I can profit, so I would just push. Hey, listen, John, everybody's gonna think you're crazy when you're trying to do big things, my brother. My family thought I was crazy when I first started my business out the back of my truck changing oil, you know, and I turned it into a multi-million-dollar business, but now they think I'm cool as shit, right? First, they're gonna hate you, and then they're gonna talk shit on you, and then after that, they're gonna admire you. Oh yeah, I know Chris. I've been knowing Chris. Oh yeah, me and Chris went to high school together. Before I was, you know, I was a dumbass trying to start a business on the back of my truck, or I was a dummy trying to do something. Just remember that you can't let the haters stop you, right? You can't. Jason's period, they'll have to catch me first. Yeah, exactly right. You can't worry about what people think about you. I don't give really a fuck what people think about. I don't give, unless you pay my bills, unless you help me feed my family. Your opinion means nothing to me, you know. And I don't really give a shit. Your opinion of me is none of my business. I mean, as far as what areas are worth what, or how the county. Oh, okay. So yeah, it was, you know, get with a realtor, you know, and trade out value, right? Sometimes you may need to call a realtor to get comps on something, and like it may be, you know, you may have a property you're not that familiar with. Call a realtor and say, look, I know, you know, I'm asking you to look up comps for me, but look, all of the deals that I find that I sell to investors or flippers, I'll make sure they use you when they go to flip it. You can list it, right? So that's how you can trade value. That's one way to learn your market. Download Zillow. Need to go live more often. I'll do that. You need to get Zillow.com on your phone, the app, Realtor.com, Redfin. Download those apps on your phone. They're not 100% accurate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're accurate all the time, but they're pretty close, right? You can download those apps and type in the address. It'll give you a rough estimate of what they think that property's worth. So that's a good free resource if you don't have access to a realtor. But you know, go out there and network with property managers. Go to RIA meetings, find out what these investors are wanting, and ask them what areas. That's how you learn your market too. You find out from landlords that maybe own a couple hundred properties in that area, and ask them what do they want. You know, what are you looking for? And they'll say, well, I don't like this area, but I love that area, and I'll tell you why. And you just listen and you just soak it all up. And it takes time to learn your market. You know, now it's going to be easier to learn your market if you were born and raised in a particular market that you're trying to work in, like me. I mean, I was born and raised in Lafayette. I know the market like the back of my hand, so it really didn't take me long to learn my market. But if you're going into a brand new market, yeah, you're gonna have to go and network. Let's see, take some questions. What would you say to a homeowner that want to meet and discuss property during a cold call on a virtual wholesale deal? I'm in Texas and property in California, so that's why Raphael, that's the main reason why I don't wholesale, because dude, logistically, that could be a freaking nightmare, right? But if I were you, you can do one of two things. You can find a local wholesaler in that market and tell them you'll give them a portion of the deal to go look at it and lock it up and take pictures of it for you. Or you can pay a realtor $100 and have her go look at it for you and, you know, negotiate it for you, and you can maybe pay her a couple $100, right, to go and take pictures and send it to you. But that realtor may want, you know, more than that. I don't know. But that would be my advice to you. You gotta have, look, Cody, if you're gonna, let's see, who asked that question? Raphael, if you're gonna do virtual wholesaling, you gotta have boots on the ground, my brother. You got to have boots on the ground. It's tough to cold call, lock up a deal over the phone, get everything signed, and then sell it without even seeing it. It's just gonna be tough. I'm not saying you can't do it. I've seen people do it. It's just tough. Cody says, are there many agents that get into wholesaling themselves? I'm starting to see more of it, Cody. I am seeing more of it because, let me tell you why. They're realizing that there's no money in being a realtor. I'm not saying you can't make any money, but the money's in the investing side. You can make, you know, I make more money in a month in wholesaling than most realtors make all year long. You know, it's just, so they see that and they're like, you know, why am I working so hard? And they work twice as hard as me, 3 times as hard. And, you know, they're having to do all this work and they get, what, 3%? Or actually get 60% of 3% of the transaction. They get peanuts, right? So yeah, I am seeing a little bit more of it. I have a follow-up to do tomorrow. She claims that she might fix it up herself, but said that she was thinking about selling as well. Cool, yeah, follow up like crazy, guys. Like, and look, the best way to follow up is to leave a first impression. When you go over there, leave them with such a good impression of you. That's gonna be your best follow-up game. Yeah, you can text them, call them, leave a video message saying you enjoyed the conversation with them, you had a great time talking with them. But I can tell you this right now, the best follow-up game is leaving the best first impressions. Leave a really good impression, and I guarantee you they will never forget that. That's why I spend, if it's a qualified lead, they have equity, they have some motivation, I'm spending some time with them, and I'm gonna really connect with that homeowner. That's what I teach my team of acquisition managers, like, spend the time with them, you know? I will check out a property for Raphael. I'm in Los Angeles, California, have him email it. Cool. Guys, if you like this, give me some thumbs up, like, shares. Please share and invite. I'm not too familiar with these YouTube lives. I'm just getting acclimated with them, but please share, invite, like. And I'm gonna start doing, do you guys like me doing these YouTube lives? I think I may do more of these. I kind of like these because it goes on YouTube. It's almost the same thing as Facebook Live. But anything else y'all want me to talk about, post in the comments. I think I started this off with real estate wholesaling and why you should hire a coach. But guys, don't be scared to invest. Guys, I dump tons of money. I probably spend, no kidding, I'm not even bullshitting you, I literally probably spend at least, I would say I probably spend at least 100 grand a year in personal development. In between mentors, programs, going to events, like at least 100 grand, no doubt. Cody, I was about to get my license here a couple of weeks, but I've been to your site and YouTube, and I was like, I got to drink that Look Aid instead of, I live in Houma, Thibodeau area. Hey, Cody, that's cool, brother. You're only about an hour and a half away from me. Hit me up. I can show you how to crush this. My brother went to Nichols. He went a college football scholarship to Nichols, so I'm familiar with that area. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger. Let's talk, dude. If you want to get into this, I'll show you how to do that in Thibodeau. I'll show you how to wholesale, my brother. Let's see. And it says, yes, keep it up, John. I love it. Okay, awesome, John. And it's, yeah, hit me up. I think I'm pronouncing your name, Annis. I'm terrible at names, guys. Sorry, I'm from South Louisiana. I'm just a coon ass here from the deep South, so you gotta excuse me sometimes. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger, Annis, and I'll give you all the options, help you. I got students across the country killing it right now, so look me up, follow me on Facebook, Instagram at Real Estate Rude. Keep doing this maybe twice a week would be great. Okay, cool. What do you use for comps? Honestly, Jay, this, my mind. I know my market so well. My family is from Lafayette. Oh, cool, that's awesome, John. I didn't realize that, brother. I know my market so well that I could literally, like, for instance, like I can tell you, I live in a little house, this house right here in this neighborhood. I know, I could literally just tell you, let me switch over the camera right here. Is this neighborhood across the coulee right here? Well, you can't really see in the trees in a way, but anyway, there's houses all right there, but I know those houses go for $105 to $110 a square foot. I just know that. I don't know how I know that, because I've been through that neighborhood and looked at so many houses in the past and looked stuff up that I literally just know. And that's where you get to a high level. You want to get to that such high level that you just know. You don't think, you know your market. That's the difference, guys. Let me know if that makes sense. I don't want to sound like a fool, but that's just how it is. Like, I know my market so well. Now, obviously most of you guys don't know your market, and that's why you're listening to me, and you probably want me to explain how to get to know your market. Download Zillow.com, Realtor.com, Redfin. Download. There's an app called iComps.com. Go to iComps.com. You can get information right there. You can go, hook up with a realtor. Kyle says, Chris, do you think it's sad that most millennials learn nothing about real estate? Absolutely, Kyle. Listen, you guys got to get into real estate. If you guys are relying on the government to take care of you when you get older, let me tell you something. Social Security is broke, dead broke. What do you think about the rent where you live mindset? Man, that's a great topic. Cody, is that River Ranch? No, River Ranch is across from where I used to live in River Ranch, but this is right. I'm across from River Ranch. But you've got to. Everybody on this feed needs to get into real estate somehow or another. And if you don't have the cash to buy properties to rent and to flip, get into wholesaling. There's no other. I don't know of a better I really don't know of a better business model. And I've owned about 10, 12 businesses. You know, this is by far the best business I've ever owned as far as time. It's a hustle. Don't get me wrong. It ain't easy. It's a hustle, right? But it's a highly paid hustle, and it's way better than flipping properties. Although we still flip some properties, we got a flip that we closing on, I think next month. But the fucking thing's been on the market for like 5-6 months, and I'm only making like 28 grand. I could have wholesaled it and made 10 grand 6 months ago, and I've been done with it. I wouldn't have had to deal with all the freaking headache of the contractors and them not showing up and all that bullshit. That's why I'm not big on flipping, guys. I wholesale and I put all that money into buy and hold for passive income. Let's answer some more questions. But yeah, Kyle, like it's ridiculous. Like everybody needs to get into real estate because you need some type of retirement strategy. I don't know of a better investment than real estate for passive income over time. Stock market's garbage. You can't predict that. You can't control that. You can actually control real estate. You can control your asset. You can, I can touch it, feel it. I can improve it. You start buying stocks and all that shit. I mean, it's just a totally different game, right? Let's answer some more questions. What do you think about the rent where you live mindset? Rent where you live. Well, I can tell you this. If you're gonna rent, you need to make sure that, obviously, if I were you guys and if I was doing it all over again, I don't look. I don't agree with what Grant Cardone says all the time. I know, y'all probably see me a lot with, posting about him, and I have my own show on his network, Into the Hustle. I'm the 10X GrowthCon Platinum sponsor. I sponsor a lot of his stuff, but I don't agree with 100% of the stuff he says. But he says, rent where you live and live where you rent. But here's the caveat to that. The reason I've gotten as far as I've gotten today is because I have not rented. I flipped my personal house 3 times. My first 3 houses, and that was my personal home. First house I made 124,000. Second house I made 60,000. Third house I made 40. And I was able to take all that and invest in businesses, myself. So if I'd have rented that whole time, I never would have made all that money. And that was actually how I was able to buy that, all those quick lube and car washes that I had, because I flipped a bunch of houses when I was young. So I don't necessarily agree with that. I wouldn't have gotten that money. Now, it's all about buying right? If I were you guys, I wouldn't rent. I would learn how to find a discounted deal, fix it up, get some equity, live in it for 2 years or a year, and sell it. Make 20, 30, 40, 60 grand, and just keep doing that until you stack enough cash to where you can actually start investing, right? Is that River Ranch area? I think I already answered that. I've heard a lot about doing lease options. What do you think about it? Or should I just stick with wholesaling? So I teach a little bit about lease options. Lease options is a good way you can wholesale lease options too. I've wholesaled a ton of lease options. There's actually more people out there. This gum is freaking stale. There's actually a lot more houses out there that don't have equity than that do have equity. What's up, my baby? Hold on, guys.
Where's the charger for this?
Charger's inside the house, my baby, on the kitchen cabinet. Yeah, so lease options. There's a lot of people out there that don't have equity, right? And you can wholesale their properties. Lots of them don't even, they can't sell their house to a realtor because their house is worth, say, $200,000. They owe $195, and they can't take a loss. You can actually go over there and explain to them, hey, look, let me help you sell your house to a tenant buyer using the rent-to-own method, and you can actually wholesale their property to a tenant buyer using the rent-to-own method and make 5, 10, 15 grand. I've made $30,000 on a rent-to-own deal, right? That's not often. Your average rent-to-own down payment is going to be about 5, 10 grand. But the way you structure that is you get the property under contract for, say, what they owe, and let's just say that they owe 195, it's worth 200,000. They just want to walk away, and it all depends on how motivated they are. I'm just going to give you a 50,000 foot view. I can't go into like the exact steps because I'd be here for an hour. That's why you got to buy my course. I go over all that in the course. But you basically just go and get a property under contract for what they owe. Say they owe 195. They're ready to walk away. They just need to get out of it. They can't afford it no more. and you market that contract to a tenant buyer. You can market a number of different ways. You can put it on social media, Facebook. Craigslist is a great way to just put on there, why rent when you can rent to own, and you have an assignable contract for a rent to own agreement on Craigslist. You put a sign in the yard for rent to why rent when you can rent to own. You'll start getting tons of calls, guys. There's more people out there that got jobs with a down payment that have no credit than there are that do have jobs and a down payment with credit. I promise you. There's tons of people out there that got 5-10 grand they can put down, that have a job they can afford, say, $1,200-$1,400 a month, and then you get them to put the 5 grand down. That's your assignment fee, and you just wholesale your contract. I'm sorry, you assign your contract to. Hey, go ask Mama, my baby. She's in there.
No, where the
I'm sorry, guys.
charger?
That's what happens when you have 5 kids. Okay, when I go back in there, I'll go get it for you. Look, Mama's over there. I'm gonna get it for you. So you take the contract you have, you assign that contract to that tenant buyer for 5-10 grand, and what should I look for in a mentor? Okay, I'll answer that question in a second, Jay. You assign that contract for 5-10 grand, and you sell that rent to own agreement for, say, 205, and the 5-10 grand that they put down goes toward their down payment, but you keep that 5-10 grand. So that's the way you can wholesale a lease option, right? And then everybody wins. The homeowner gets their note taken care of. You found somebody that's going to get to own a house now that's been renting. You make 5-10 grand. Everybody wins. It's really a great way to do deals. Let's see. Let's answer some of these questions. Wow, y'all got a bunch of questions coming. I've heard a lot about doing lease options. What do you think about it? Okay, we answered that. Do you do subject twos? Jay, I don't do a lot of subject twos. I'll tell you why real quick, because subject twos can trigger what's called the due on clause sale. And what that is if you take over and the existing finances, or you take over the mortgage subject to the existing finances, you can trigger the due on clause sale, meaning that the bank can call the loan and say, hey, we want the balance of the loan right now. So that's why I rather do lease options. But the problem with doing lease options, if you take over a property on a lease option and the original homeowner gets a lien or a judgment or goes bankrupt, that's going to attach to the property that you own on a lease option. So there's a caveat for both of them, right? You take a chance with the subject to of getting the loan called and triggering the due on clause sale. And if you take over the property on a lease option, you take a chance of getting a lien on the property because you don't technically own it. You just own it via a contract. Hope that answers your question. Kyle, I try to tell my friends and classmates, but they have an employee mindset. You're exactly right, Kyle. Listen, dude, you can't force entrepreneurship. Like, not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. I've had this problem with my kids, right? Like, I'm so like entrepreneurial. Like, I can't work for anybody. I'm so hard-headed. And I got, some of my kids are just not entrepreneur. Like my oldest child, who's 19, like he does not want to have anything to do with owning the business, right? He has every opportunity to learn from me. He don't give a rat's ass. I try to talk to him. Like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to work for somebody. I don't want to own my own business. So, but you can't force somebody to want to be an entrepreneur, Kyle. 100%. So either you want to or you don't, because it's not for everybody. Marissa, what do you think assessed value is in proportion to the real value? The assessed value is what the government thinks it's worth, so they can tax you. The real value is what somebody's willing to pay for it, and what somebody's willing to pay for it is based off of the comps in your area of what other houses similar to your house sold for within the last 3 to 6 months, and that's really the real value of your house. Cody says even in a housing bubble, you could still wholesale, dude. Cody, this is why I love wholesaling. You can wholesale in any market, and actually wholesaling works better in a down market. You can crush it in a down market, and you can crush it this is the greatest time in history to get into real estate and wholesaling, because the baby boomers are all retiring, and there's a huge influx of houses hitting the market from all these baby boomers that are dying and retiring. Justin, I'm a veteran and qualify for a VA loan which requires 0 money down. How would you use that for an investment? Justin, I would, dude, I'd go on MLS, Justin, and I'd make 100 offers on properties lowball offers, not just any offers, right? Lowball offers, and and get a property that you can get heavily discounted, that you can flip and make some money, and do that, and do that 4 or 5 times, man. That's exactly how I got started. I flipped, dude. When I was in my early 20s, I flipped 4 or 5 properties, dude, I made like 300 grand, like, and I was like 25, 26 years old, made $300,000 to flipping properties. I was able to take that cash and invest it in all kind of investments, and it really helped me, take me to the next level. That's what I would do, Justin. Just try to find some deals, man. Go out there and shake the trees. Get into wholesaling, Justin, and find some really. I mean, the best deals are going to come from a wholesaling business. That's why I get the best deals. I got a pipeline of deals that I can pick from. Let's see. Jay says, how can I put a low down payment on a multi-unit? That's going to be tough, Jay. Well, I say tough. I do it all the time. I don't put hardly any money down in any of my deals anymore because I use small local community banks here in town. My advice to you guys is, now, to better get leverage like that, you got to have good credit. And the way you get set up with the banks is you got to give me tax returns. You got to show them you make a little bit of money. So if you got a cash business that you hide money, it's probably not going to be good for you as far as borrowing money with the banks. The banks want to see that you're making money. So if you're making money and you can show you have good credit and you can bring them a deal that is a really smoking hot deal because of the fact that it has a lot of equity. Like, I bring deals to the banks, it's like ridiculous. They're like, Chris, where are you finding these deals, man? You buying them for half of what they're worth. So basically I'll get like that duplex I bought, right? Or, I'm sorry, that fourplex I bought on UL campus. It appraised, it's worth about 200 grand, and I got it for 92,000, right? And I'm renovating it right now. We're almost done. I think I put 35 grand into it. So I'm gonna be into it for like 125. It's worth $200,000. So I didn't have to put any money down because I bought it so cheap, So, but but you have to establish a relationship with banks before you can do that. And I recommend, Jay, you establish relationships with smaller community banks. Let's see. What should I look for in a mentor? Any specific questions? Jay, make sure he's doing what he's saying and saying what he's doing. Like, that's why I tell my students, like, but, or the ones that are looking to hire me, make sure you vet me, because look, I'm gonna be honest with you, the first mentor I hired, the dude stole $50,000 from me. Yeah, his name's Fabian Calvo. The guy went to jail. I had him arrested. Look him up. He was a freaking crook. But I didn't do enough due diligence. It was my fault. I deserved that. I mean, I got most of my money back, but make sure that he's the real deal. Like, vet him out. Make sure he has successful students, make sure that he's actually doing what he's saying and saying what he's doing. And what's that, Mama? Yeah, in a minute. Almost done. Make sure he's doing everything that he says he's gonna do, right? That he's actually doing deals. There's a lot of fake it till you make it's out there, guys. Tons of fake. I need to make a video on fake it till you make it, because, dude, there's so many fake it till you make it that I'm like, I'm getting pretty disgusted with it. Let's see. I'm saying I've made it, but I made it a lot more than most of those guys that are putting out courses and doing deals. I'd ask them, hey, how much real estate you own? Hey, how many deals a month are you doing? I own $11 million worth of real estate. We're doing 6 figures a month. Find out if they're the real deal. Chris, I'm so thankful I found your videos about real estate and entrepreneurship. I don't learn this stuff in college. Kyle, 100%, dude. Listen, if know what I know now, when I was in my early 20s or late teens, I should have been. I didn't really watch YouTube back then. I should have been. I could have learned so much more from YouTube and following entrepreneurs who are actually doing deals. You can get, dude. You can get a master's degree in entrepreneurship from following guys like me and other guys that actually own businesses and know what they're doing. Follow people on YouTube. Hire them as mentors. Hire me as a mentor. Listen, reach out to some of my students and ask if they like the content I put out. We don't just talk about real estate. Like, it's encompassing. We talk entrepreneurship, mindset, personal development, real estate, flipping houses, renting houses, everything. Lease options, multifamily. Like, we go over everything. Let's see. Appreciate that, though, Kyle. Ronaldo, tell Raphael to email me if he's still on YouTube. I will work with him. Or Empire, Hotmail. Let's see. Some of these questions. Is getting the values from Zillow, Truly, Realtor.com, Redfin, and dividing by 4 a good way to find the ARV? No, you're gonna have to know you're gonna have to know the how much repair work it needs, right? That you can't just you can't just do it that way. You're gonna have to go and look at the property and figure out how much work it needs, minus off the repair work, and typically, they say 70% of ARV after ARV. I mean, that's not 100% accurate. I mean, because it depends on what market you're in. You got to know your market. You got to know what things cost to fix. That's another big thing. I did a video about that too, knowing about what things cost to fix. Let's see. Have a relationship with small credit unions. Well, absolutely, absolutely. That 100%. Stay away from the big banks. The big banks don't want to mess with guys like me and you. We're those small fish. You need to get hooked up with smaller banks. You still work with Nico. He actually sold me your course. Yeah, Nico's. Well, actually, I still talk to Nico. No, he doesn't work for me anymore. He actually started his own little gig doing and some sales for himself. I think he's got his own course out now, Jay. He's a local credit union. What do you think about transactional funding? I think it's great. I do a lot of transactional funding for people that I work with, other wholesalers, other investors that do transactional funding for. I think it's great. I mean, if you can get away with, paying a transactional funder couple thousand bucks, and you can hide all your numbers and it's a clean transaction, why not? Do it. Most of these coaches you've never even hear from after you hire them. Yeah, that's right, Jay. But look, guys, I'd love to help you. Reach out to me. Hit me on inbox. Hit me up on at chrisroot.com, or hit me up on Facebook Messenger, and we can chat. I'd love to talk to you about how I can help you get into the real estate game, especially the wholesaling game. Look at my kids behind me. They're cutting up. But yeah, hire somebody, guys. Don't be cheap. Like, it's, what you're going to get out of something is in direct relationship to what you put into it. Like, if you don't spend a lot of money on a mentor, it ain't going to mean nothing to you. And I'm not saying that because I want your money, but when I go in, like, I spend a lot of money. I just dropped $8,500 to, my buddy Tim Bratz, because I'm going to his mastermind, I'm not scared to drop the money, even because I know that I'm going to get that 1,000-fold. Like, he's going to show me stuff that's going to make me millions of dollars in the next probably 5-10 years. What's $8,500? You got to get that shit out of your mind of the money. That money that you have in a checking account is better off with somebody like me, or another a mentor, than it is in your fucking checking account. I promise you. You're going to compound that shit forever, and nobody can take it away from you. The shit I show you, nobody can take it away from you. I don't care if the economy crashes, you fucking wreck your car, you lose all your money. You have that knowledge in your mind, and nobody's going to take it away from you. So anyway, go to chrisroot.com or go to Facebook Messenger. I'd love to work with you. And keep following me. Keep giving me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. And Cody, yeah, reach out to me, dude. I can definitely help you. Do you recommend masterminds for me? Absolutely, Jay. And by the way, I'm doing a mastermind for you guys that are still on November 16th and 17th in Destin, Florida at the Sandestin Hilton. I'm going to have tickets. It's called the Skillathon. I'm gonna have tickets for sale soon. They're gonna be relatively cheap. I'm gonna have tons of awesome speakers. It's something that make, $10-12 million a year, guys. So anyway, guys, peace. Y'all have a good night. It'll cost you more not taking a chance on yourself right now. Absolutely. It costs more not to take a risk, guys. And I think I'm let's see, I don't even know how to turn this off. There we go.